So this one is at a gas station. We talked about this in one of our last episodes. Common scenario, guys. Like these guys are all chit-chatting around the gas pump with not paying attention to anything that's going on. This already could have been easily avoided. These guys are struggling. He showed up with a gun. He's got something on his head, clearly bad intent. You know, that gun's waving all over the place. You know, are these guys intoxicated? Why is it taking so long for him to jump on that? You know, that gun swept everybody there multiple times. And then that part was a lack of awareness. That guy came out of pretty much to these guys nowhere. And they very easily could have at least slowed him down, impeded his momentum by pausing. And again, there's just this back and forth. The good guys have control of the gun now. And you're gonna see a very clear, because I'm always wondering in this scenario, is that gun real? Is it real? And typically you're gonna find that out about the way they respond or react. We have a see right there. So go ahead and pause for a second. That was the reaction right there where he lifted the gun up and the guy was like, okay. It's like, that tells me that that gun was probably real and loaded because it was a real threat to that guy. Anytime that I do a weapon takeaway, I clear the gun offline. Now with my experience, I can feel right away, is that airsoft? Is it cheap? You know, is it a high point or is it a SIG? You know, what is it that I'm grabbing onto? Is it a quality gun? Is it a cheap gun, fake gun? And the reason I tap rack is because I can automatically start with manipulation to know, is it loaded? Is it a real gun? Clearly, that's not what these guys did, but that was still a factor for that guy that was, you know, first a threat. Now they've turned the tables on him. So let's let the video play and we'll break it down step by step. All right, so he's got the gun up again. Now he's stepping forward. Well, why? Because he put the gun up multiple times and nothing happens. Well, when you do that, you're teaching people like, oh, he just pointed the gun at me, didn't do anything, the gun didn't go off. It is real, possibly. I'm getting that vibe. But now you just trained him that you're not gonna do anything about it. And then he's feeling your intent and everything else that's involved there. So if you're gonna lift it or put it up, you know, have some aggressive intent with it. And that might be verbal, that might be your body language. All those are gonna come together. I wanna focus on 2 points here. First of all, these guys all were staring at the pump with zero awareness. I talk about this all the time. When you guys are in this public arena, you're at the gas station, you need to be aware of everything 360 that's going on around you. These guys clearly set this up, right? They just pulled in there and now they're doing a deliberate attack on these guys. They're ambushing them. So you've got to have your head on a swivel. The way that I like to do it is keeping your back up against the car, but also potentially keeping your door open. Again, if these guys were heads up, they would have caught this way earlier on. So that's my first point. Head on a swivel, let it play right from the very get-go so you can see this stuff happening. Okay, this guy's got a gun waving all over the place. These guys have zero training. They're not keeping that gun offline. That gun could have gone off anytime. It's a threat the entire time that it's not in your control. Now pause. Back up just a little bit. Right, a little bit more. Right about when that guy gets out of the other vehicle. Okay, that guy in the red shirt standing next to the pump, or even the dude that's on top, with a little bit of training, you start to look around. If I have physical touch, if I have physical contact with somebody, I don't necessarily need to be looking at what's going on, and everybody gets fixated on the fight. Same thing in a bar. The second a bar fight breaks out, I'm already looking outside, like who else has buddies here? Who else is gonna try to flank me? It's the same thing that guy could have been doing, at least to give him a heads up verbally or yelled, hey, there's another guy, right? To alert these dudes to change their position. That's the other point that I really wanna harp on in this specific video. These guys ended up working this out and surviving because they took action. But again, there's other elements to this. Like, could they have avoided that completely? I don't know. That's a tough one because they got ambushed. They got right up in their face. So it was hard to really disengage. And I think that ultimately what happened was for the good guys, but a stronger level of awareness could have avoided this altogether. You see these guys struggle. You know, everybody's just rolling around and fumbling around with this. You know, it's a very, very unprofessional attack, but nevertheless, it's still a threat to everybody's life here because you've got a loaded and live gun And luckily the good guys, won this one. Good level of awareness, apply it, especially around these arenas where people can pull up at a moment's notice.